because I want Alicia to, this is Alicia's class, and she invited me in to share a perspective, and I'll just share, because I think a man's point of view does matter. I will, when you're talking about how to choose a person that you want to marry and whether or not they're even ready for marriage, I think with men, I can speak for me as a man, and I can't speak for every man. I wasn't ready to get married before I got married. If Alicia had come along as beautiful as she is, when I was maybe 32 years old, I don't know if I would have gotten married, because at that time I wasn't ready. I wasn't interested, right? So I think that a lot of getting married does come down to whether or not the person's ready. It's just like if you think about sleeping with somebody, sometimes somebody might find you attractive and might normally sleep with you, but maybe it's just a bad week. They're not feeling well. They got a lot of stress that week. They're dating somebody at the time. For women, if a woman's on her cycle or something, maybe she doesn't feel comfortable, whatever, right? So a lot of times it's variables beyond your control. And in fact, actually, Alicia and I are both statisticians, and this is something we call, did you all call it the latent variable problem? Yeah, latent variable problem. That's where you basically think it's you. Like, you think it's you. You're like, oh, well, she must not like me, or he must not think I'm good enough, right? When really it's a bunch of factors that you don't even know about. It's a bunch of variables that you're not even aware of. And I remember that. I remember when I proposed to Alicia, I had an ex-girlfriend who asked me, she said something like, why wasn't I good enough? And I said, it wasn't that you weren't good enough. It's just I wasn't ready. And also, I can only marry one person, right? So you were a great woman. I told her, I said, you were awesome. You didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing wrong with you. I just wasn't ready, and I can only pick one, right? So I think understanding little basic things like that make a big difference. And I will also say that when I chose to marry Alicia, we were friends for a very long time, which really formed a hugely powerful foundation to the relationship. Like, sometimes when she gets annoyed with me as a husband, she leans on the fact that I'm her friend. Or when I get annoyed with her as my wife, it's like, but that's my buddy, right? And that friendship foundation, I think, is really important. It goes beyond some of the more superficial things that I've seen in terms of people being attracted to each other because, oh, he makes a certain amount of money, or, oh, she looks really pretty and she has a nice body, or whatever. Like, I don't think those things really sustain a healthy relationship. I think it has to go deeper than that. And if your partner's not your friend, I would encourage you to make friends with that person. Like, really understand what that means to be their friend, because that gives you another backdrop you can lean on in case the relationship part doesn't work out. The other thought I'd say is getting help on a consistent, ongoing basis, I think matters. I see maintaining marriage the same way you maintain a car. Right? With your car, you can't drive 50,000 miles without getting a tune-up or an oil change. You can't drive thousands of miles without putting gas in the car. And a relationship, to me, does require consistent maintenance on a regular basis. And I will also say this. I told my wife, I said, when I married her, I said, I didn't marry you because I just wanted to get married. I married you because you are extremely special to me. You are unique. You are one in a million, in my view. Because there are people out there are other women around in life that, maybe I could have married or whatever. But I said, I'm marrying you because of you, because it's you, right? Because there's something special about you that makes me want to do this. And the reason I mention that is because sometimes we get married because, the person's the best, most, the best available catch, right? Like, oh, he's a great catch and all this other stuff. And I would encourage you to be thoughtful and careful about that, because if you might see somebody as the catch of the century, but they may not see you as the catch of the century. They may see you as something that's easily replaceable. He might say, well, I got a lot of women that like me, and I ain't, I can replace you in a second, and you should be honored to be with me. I don't think people like that are the people you want to marry. I think the person you want to marry is somebody who says, my God, I am so lucky to have you. I'm going to be on my best behavior with you because you can't be replaced in my life, right? And maybe that requires you to kind of look a little bit more broadly when you're choosing, right? Not so much just choosing the person who is the best from a superficial standpoint, but choosing the person who admires the living shit out of you.